everyone I know is here. I went to UCSD, most are hoping to fail. I mean that seriously. I just met Austin Goolsbee in the elevator. I said, "You're Austin Goolsbee." He said, "Yes." I said, "I'm Justin Rao." He just looked at me blankly. Anyway, thanks, Austin. So anyway, I'm Justin Rao. I work for Microsoft Research. I'm going to alert you to my disclaimer. I always give this disclaimer, but today it's especially important because the stuff I'm about to say, opinions, hateful remarks, and so forth are my own, not those of David Riley or the Microsoft Corporation. Let me give you a little idea why I don't speak for Microsoft. Here's my line in the org chart. Got Steve Ballmer on top, you've probably heard of him. Then you got a bunch of people you've never heard of, and then me, who you probably haven't heard of either, but I'm less powerful than them. So that's why I don't speak for Microsoft. Here, what? Hey, first joke didn't work, we're good. There we are. Remember, this is harder than it looks. Anyway, I had a good friend who's here, who's sitting right up in front, came to me yesterday and said, "Don't do it. Just don't do it. No one will take you seriously as an economist, they already don't." So I said, well, I work for a tech company. How do we solve problems in tech? Fine print. So I've actually amended the disclaimer to this. Usually in the tech world, we don't actually show you the fine print. That's sort of a rule of being in the tech world, but today I will, against all better judgment. So the new disclaimer is, opinions, hateful remarks, and so forth are not even those of Justin Rao, semi-respectable economists. And also, by continuing to sit in this talk, you hereby sign over all rights of any photos or recordings of your image or likeness to the Microsoft Corporation. So, welcome. My co-author couldn't be here, David Riley. He sent me this picture inexplicably. He said, "I hope you make fun of me today." I said, "Why should today be any different than the other day, David?" But this apparently is Google orientation. This is a real picture from Google orientation. This should scare you. They're all in the same hat, shirt, lanyard, and pants, it looks like, in a room listening to someone talk at them for about 3 days. Now, at Microsoft, I signed up for health insurance and started working. At Google, they did this. I'm not saying it's a cult. I'm just saying it's statistically indistinguishable from a cult. All right, David told me once the etymology of the word spam comes from a Monty Python sketch. I'm really not even sure what Monty Python is. I mean that very literally because I am not old, I am not British, and therefore I don't like Monty Python. That's a picture of Monty Python. This paper, it's actually a real paper sort of, was in the 2012 JEP. If you wanted to ask my old boss, Preston McAfee, what does he think of the JEP? This came from his website, this is a real quote. So the recipe, blah, 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 joins the likes of McDonald's hamburgers and the Journal of Economic Perspectives as one of the greatest frauds perpetrated on an unsuspecting audience. Thank you, Preston, for all your support. So speaking of Google, I want to hate on Google a little bit. I work for Microsoft. I'm contractually obligated to do so. This is a paper by the founders of Google. This is a screenshot from Google Scholar. It has 5,500 sites. The PageRank citation ranking bringing order to the web. This is the paper that helped us know which websites are legitimate because sites are being linked into them. Like the New York Times links to Preston's site, he's now a legitimate economist. In that paper, Table 1 is the top 15 most important sites by PageRank in 1996. Notice there's a lot of stuff on here besides Yahoo, which is still kind of relevant because I worked there, I'll say that, but you know, it's a lot of download, Netscape, blah, blah, blah. I have good news for Microsoft employees. There's a line in the paper. Table 1 shows the top 15 pages based on PageRank. This particular listing was July 96. A more recent calculation, Microsoft has just S out Netscape as the highest ranked page. So in 1998, Microsoft people, we were number 1. So PageRank, this week, Google fought this big FTC battle. And the battle was about, can Google put something like Google Plus higher than Facebook in a search for social network? Is that anti-competitive? And the FTC said, actually, you know what? That might help consumers because they already use Google, blah, blah, blah. Who knows? I actually have access to PageRank. They let me use that algorithm last night, and they made a slight adjustment to PageRank for the current web. And here's what they have. It's the new PageRank rankings of most important sites on the web. Top is Google.com. You have YouTube, Gmail, Google. FTC.gov got a big bump. Maps.google.com, docs.google.com, accounts.google, Motorola.com, Google.com/calendar is enormously important, and the DOJ is the 14th. DoubleClick is 15th. So it's amazing. They've quickly responded to their newfound market power. So this is, I think, the funniest quote in all of academic papers in terms of how ironic it is. This is a real quote, section 6.1. Concerns of the search engine, manipulation by commercial interests. Well, that's a concern. This is a real quote. These types of personalized page ranks are virtually immune to manipulation. For a page to get a high rank, it must convince an important page or a lot of a non-important page to link to it. At worst, you can have manipulation in the form of buying advertisements, links on important sites. So, let me get this straight for people. In 1998, these guys said, at worst, what you can do in the world is what their company does every day. Okay? At worst, what would disrupt this natural, amazing ordering of sites? Unless people could just pay to be on there, but we'd never do that. So that is in there. It's 5,000 sites. Way to go, guys. Conclusion, a lot of job market candidates are told, like, don't oversell your conclusion. These guys really didn't oversell their conclusion. This is the conclusion of the paper. We have found a number of applications of PageRank, in addition to search, which include traffic estimation and user navigation. This is the biggest company in the world, basically, and they're like, we can do a few of the things with this deal, you know? Here's actually, I had the submitted version of this paper. It had one more thing in there. We found the number of blah, blah, user navigation, and world domination. That was in the submitted version, but the referees made it take them out. Like, that's too ambitious. They're like, screw it, we'll just say user navigation, whatever. But we're coming after you. Remember when this was true? Google, don't be evil. This was true about until the time this man, Hal Varian, was hired to be Google's chief economist. And I'm not saying there's a relation there. I'm just saying this was true, and now this is true. And now this is no longer true. If anyone knows Hal, I don't know if Hal's here tonight. I don't know him well to make fun of him, but I'm going to go out on that limb. Hal doesn't own these clothes. Like, Hal nowhere near owns these clothes. He doesn't look this stylish. Like, this looked like Hal is actually a model for, like, older men's Gap. You know, like, look at this. This is amazing. Like, he doesn't look like this. Go look at him. He's not dressed like this. But this actually answers an important question for people worrying about Google. They say, well, Google just hired Preston McAfee. They have Hal Varian, both are like dominant micro theorists. Who's more important? Well, I'm a behavioral economist. You have to use a heuristic, right? Well, the heuristic at play here is the guy with the better headshot is more important. Preston took this photo of himself on like a family vacation. Hal had presumably like 10 hours of Gap training to take this photo. All right? So the answer would be at Google, if just looking at this, boom, that's your guy, right? That's him. Hal Varian, he walked into Google, he brought with him his amazing textbook, third volume, third edition of Hal Varian's Microeconomic Analysis. He said, actually, look at page 82. You have been screwing up with the don't do evil. You should just set marginal cost of evil equals marginal revenue of evil. They said, how? What does that mean? He said, hold on, look at page 83. Just do evil to the point that it meant zero profit on the margin. Italics added. Italics added. All right. So yeah, that is a real quote-ish. Back to spam. I'm actually going to skip all this stuff. This is like the part of the paper that was informative, but I'm going to skip that. Spammers, actually, I noticed for a fact, I interviewed a few of them, they read Hal Varian religiously, as we all do. They want to minimize costs. How do you minimize costs? You have this problem. You want a Gmail account that's got great page rank, you can send spam out to anyone you want, it won't get filtered. You have to solve a captcha to get it. How do you do that? You need a human to like enter the squiggly letters. The solution, as it sort of almost always is pornography. How does this work? You have a captcha you need solving. You need some human. What human are we going to look at? Our paradigm human? Justin Rouse circa 2001. My high school yearbook photo. What does Justin Rouse circa 2001 want? He wants pornography. Badly. So you just have him solve a few captchas to get into that website, you ship those over to Gmail and you have your free Gmail account. So spammers actually minimize their costs so well, they only make about $200 million annually. It's about 1% of the cost of society. That's the only thing, well, you won't learn anything from this talk, but that's the only thing that would mildly resemble academic knowledge. I'm also going to skip this because it's just really not that funny. I'm going to close the set with the section of the talk. Every good talk should have this section, and it's do NASCAR drivers understand revealed preference? It really should, right? 2012 NASCAR amendment was about advertising. It would have banned $100 million of spending of sponsoring Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s National Guard car or this U.S. Army car. Why is spam talk? It wasn't even spam talk, it was just sort of hating on a few people I know talk, but if it was a spam talk, spam is advertising. This is advertising. So the question they asked in Congress, was the advertising worth it? Should we ban it? What would our revealed preference intuition say? Well, we'll turn to Jeff Burton, as we always do. Jeff Burton in NASCAR land is Jeff Burton, number 31. And This is a real quote from Jeff Burton. I don't think they're throwing money at it just for the hell of it. They must be doing it because it works. And so for the people in the government to get involved really makes no sense. Why would they be spending the money if it wasn't that effective? Jeff Burton understands real preference. I did a follow-up interview with Jeff Burton for these meetings. I sent him a copy of Varian ahead of time. Notice in the picture, he now has Varian. Real picture. No Varian, Burton with Varian. I said, Jeff, can you strengthen your case for the economists out there? They might not be that compelled. A lot of these, they're not classical economists, you know? He said, sure. They chose advertising bundle, A, negative 100 million over 0, 0, and other bundles, A prime, negative 100 million within the budget set. By the generalized axiom of real preference, Varian, page 19, it must be preferable. I said, Jeff, that might not convince some of the more econometrically oriented people. He said, okay, I have one more quote for you, Justin. Constrained maximization problems have weakly lower maxima than their unconstrained counterparts. I swear people in the government don't know basic calculus. It's pathetic. Check the mathematical appendix of Varian, son. That's all I got. All Varian quotes fabricated. Hal Varian does not support evil in any way. Preston McAfee is not that old. To my knowledge, David Riley's not in a cult. However, Monty Python is really not that funny. And the NASCAR event was defeated 216 to 202, a rare dual victory for neoclassical economists and Southerners at the same time.